from the rock and roll capital. It's time for a show that'll open your eyes and your ears. You don't need to worry about health insurance here.
Rest your lips, put down the ears. Go ahead.
It's time for Band-Aid. With your host, Doc Rock.
Thank you, and a worldwide web welcome to Band-Aid with Doc Rock. I am Doc Rock, your rockologist, and we are live and in living color podcasting from the rock and roll capital of Cleveland, Ohio. Woo! Good to be back with you. You know, Band-Aid is a global and interactive weekly forum, and it's designed to help bands get better. You know, these are indeed some really tough industry times out there, so we're here to tackle your challenges in the music industry. And I'd like to say thanks, as always, for spreading the word and for linking us on your sites, mentioning us. You know, it means a lot to me. I appreciate it very, very much. And we continue to grow in viewership with every show. And as I always say, it's really your show, and it's all about supporting your success. And of course, if you've missed any of our past shows, and there's almost 2 years of them of great information for you, they are in the archives. All you got to do is go to our website at bandaidwithdocrock.com. You know, this website also offers a large assortment of music industry related links that are listed on the sitemap as helpful resource links. And I like to get them posted up there, so it's a good one-stop for you to find all the things that you need to help your career. But of course, we always invite your suggestions for adding additional music industry resource links. You know, people find things all the time each week. I want to know about them. Share them with me because I'd like to share them with everybody. So you'll also find a page on the site listed as Recovery Room Interview Application. That's right. If your entire band wants to be interviewed live or right here in our recovery room, just complete this short application and submit it to our artist relations staff for their review and scheduling. Now, I do need to tell you, of course, that for the month of September, we have just one recovery room date that I heard tonight has opened up. So bands, if you're listening and you've not been into my recovery room, I want to meet you. Tuesday, September 20th. That's Tuesday, September 20th. We have that available, and it's going to go really quick because I'm mentioning it now. So get to the website, get that application in. It's first come, first serve. Would love to get you on here on Tuesday, September 20th in our downtown morningshowcentral.com studios. So again, I just wanted to give you the pitch on that one and give you that opportunity, and I'd like to meet you. And of course, you can always join us in our chat room throughout the evening, and on your screen you'll see our email address occasionally flashing. It's just show@bandaidwithdocrock.com. You know, use it during the show at any time, 24/7, 365. You know what? I like hearing from you. And of course, email me with future show suggestions and future topics that I can tackle that will help you. You know, when you share your ideas and experiences, it helps all of our viewers. Remember, we are in this rock together. All right, our talented production team is in the house tonight. I love them. Of course, the wizards, the intern wizards are flying all over the place. Yowza, they're all here in force, and I like it. And Social Rocket, man, that guy's wild and crazy, but he does it all for me, and I appreciate him. My man, Jared Holly, who's out there doing the scene right now on the big concert tours, and he's been really great with this show. And, of course, the man who puts it all together, the man back there who's already had 2 heart transplants and trying to deal with the show, we call him the Flying V. He's the big guy behind the board. I couldn't do it without my production team, and I say thanks to all of them. All right. Doc's blood pressure. Yeah, you know, it's still up there. It has been elevated this week. Here's the reason why. You know, how many times I go to shows and there's the lack of stage scripts for your live shows. The lack of stage scripts. Bands think everybody's a mind reader just because you walked in the house. Wrong. You're not. How often do I attend live shows at the requests of bands and I hear audio guffaws and I see all kinds of lighting errors? When I ask the sound man, they respond, don't know because the band gave me nothing. Oh, come on. Therein lies the problem, band. You know, these bands have got to get on the stick with this stuff. It is showbiz 101 for a band to take the time to write down your live set and then generate an audio and related lighting score when applicable. You know, these stage persons will gladly do what you want and when you want if they really knew it. You know, they are the last to know and, of course, are usually left in the dark, literally, you know, because they have no script. They're a big part of your show. You can't imagine what goes down for a major Broadway production in terms of stage and audio support, lighting support, all the scripting that has to happen. Well, you're no different. You're no different even when you're doing a small set in a place. All these folks have the ability to add so much more to your show if you'll inform them. I see bands hastily writing set sheets and taping them to the stage floors and monitors. Why? Okay, your live show needs to be clearly written for the band and then also scored for sound and lighting support. It can all be done on a single document that you just keep on file and just upgrade it as necessary. Who is singing lead on what tunes? Who has solos? Any effects, any blackouts, any fades? When? It takes an extra 5 minutes to do this to impress your audience, yet band members are so preoccupied with checking their emails and their fan likes that they don't even mind the store and get the business done. Bands need to write a score and a really comprehensive show. You'll garner much more respect from the venue and the talent buyers and deliver more for your fans. The live experience must be just that. A comprehensive live experience. Word up from your doc. Okay. Yeah, we should. I want you to open wide and get ready for Doc's weekly prescription. All right. Never forget proper studio etiquette. Gee, you didn't know that existed? Well, it does exist. Proper studio etiquette. That studio owner has a big investment in his business, just like anybody else would. And protecting their equipment is everything. Have you ever gone on a fishing charter? Your success and your catch of the day greatly depends upon the boat captain and all the deckhands. The same is with the studio engineer and staff. They have incredibly odd hours in service, to the recording clients. Drilling and beating them on your behalf, is instant failure. Proper studio etiquette is all about, of course, good manners and being considerate. These people, they suffer the same fatigue as other humans, probably even more. They're often referred to sometimes when they're staying so late and working with so many bands that they'll say they have cauliflower ears, okay? They need to be both fresh and passionate about your project. Running in there and grinding them on all these additional hours because you probably haven't done your job, okay, doesn't work to get the sound that you want. Ask your engineer on occasion how they are doing and if they're a little better rested today for your session. If you bring beverages or food to the session, then keep it away from the console and, and all the rest of the recording gear. And even offer some to your engineer. He's a human being, why not? Make them feel as one and not like a cab driver who will never see a tip. And also, of course, don't bark at your engineer or producer, but suggest and confess what you desire to hear. They can only deliver that if they know what you really want and you communicate that. It is not their job to produce totally your work. Their job is not to pull it out of thin air. Your job is to have a vision about your music and to communicate it properly to them. They also, by the way, don't load in and out your equipment. These are all factions of studio etiquette, how to professionally use studios. Do the work to prepare for a session before you even get to the studio. The clock's always ticking. Tell them your goals for that session so they can best allocate the time to the advantage of all parties. Sometimes it really results in a savings for you. And also, of course, compliment them. Be patient. And when a major project is complete, even go so far as to write and post a note of appreciation to them and to the entire studio. Any business likes to post these types of letters of props from their clients and successes. It's good promo for you, it's good relations, and of course other customers and things will be in there and see your letters and things as well. So it's just all about positive, good business practices and proper etiquette in the studio. So, word up from your doc on this one. I want you to swallow this wise etiquette prescription and get better. Speaking of great efforts in studios and all that stuff, my man, I got to talk about him, okay? Because we're coming up actually on 10 years of 9/11. Wow, does time not fly? You know, my great friend, mega guitar tech guru Mark Reese, who was on the show many months ago, he's the guitar tech of many of the biggest names in the industry. And of course, he really gives back to this industry, and I admire him. His guitar giveaway project is called OurSacrifice.org, and it supports 5 grassroots veterans organizations, you know, and it's now getting some incredible autographed premium guitars. That's right. And they're donated. Autographed premium guitars and even now some amplifiers and gear from all the top stars. They're all chipping into this patriotic cause. You'll be blown away when you go to the website OurSacrifice.org and click on the donor artists. Incredible what he's getting. Everybody should join me in supporting, of course, this most important patriotic cause. It's so very, very important during these times. You know, all you got to do is visit OurSacrifice.org to learn more, and you'll be amazed what you can win for a simple raffle donation to support our deserving troops. So it's a great thing to do. I suggest you go out there and take a look at it. You know, it's your donation, by the way, your raffle donation, you take it, it's perpetual. In other words, if they don't draw your name this month, it just stays in there for future months. So your chances are really, really good. Everybody should be jumping in to support OurSacrifice.org. Now it's time for those weekly artist injections. Yeah. I have fun with this part of the show. All right, so since 2004, the rock and shoegaze quartet called Minute of Arc have been floating around northeastern Ohio. That's right, they've been arcing around northeastern Ohio. This Cleveland band consists of members Peter, Ryan, Rick, and Michael, who are talents. Well, they're traveling in kind of low gear right now. You know, when you go out there to check them out, you find there's one really unique art cover photo posted on their MySpace page. Of course, MySpace page, Minute of Arc. But there's no merch, and there's only one boring video of a live performance at Brothers Lounge, and God knows when that was done. I wonder if Minute of Arc has flashed in time or if they're really still together. Anybody seen them out there? I don't know. They released one CD on their Dial Den Recordings label, and the CD was entitled Future Forests. You know, Minute of Arc don't seem to generate much interest, and they don't really post a lot of future shows, so I wonder what's going on. But interesting, talented band. So, okay, let's do this. I'd like to endure with you a tune by the Minute of Arc called Gilding the Eagle, and maybe you can catch this very evasive buzz. Listen to this. Are you still with me? Most every tune posted by this band averages 5 minutes. And you just heard Gilding the Eagle by Minute of Arc. You know, they're very inner reflective. You know, they're non-melodic. They're more rhythm-based. You know, and Peter's forlorn vocal style is kind of, attractive, but it's a little bit understated, and it slides in and out of key every once in a while. You know, the band just seems to jam well in unison, but the musicians are very, very solid and very, very confident. So, you know, there's something there from that Minute of Arc. So, on a scale of 1 to 5, on the Band-Aid musical scale known as BAMS, I got a zap Minute of Arc with, 1 BAMS for 4 guys with plenty of musical skills and a unique style and vision. You know, yeah, they're together on things. They may not be very present these days, but they are still together. And of course, 1 BAMS for having their music on over a dozen sites. They're out there. They do have really good web presence and coverage, so I've got to hand that to them at least. You know, that's a total of 2 BAMS for the Northeastern Ohio shoegaze quartet called Minute of Arc. You know, Minute of Arc seem to be immersed into their melancholy music and, and really neither interested or aggressive about being very dynamic. They sure could use a little bit of marketing help. Their marketing and offerings are very, very limited, and, some of it's just not very, very enticing. And it's got to be in a very competitive industry. So I hope that Minute of Arc will shock themselves into a new reality and someday aspire to greater career heights. Okay. Bonjour, comment allez-vous? Je vais bien, merci, et vous? Je m'appelle Doc Rock. There's a talented and fun and creative pop and new wave band from Tullapaca, France. That's right, Tullapaca, France. They're called Velvet Sky. You know, this season quintet consists of members Flora, Ingrid, Lionel, Julian, and Pierre. And these are no kids. They're pretty seasoned. They have an exciting MySpace profile with really great graphics and images. There are many photos of all different styles of this truly French ensemble, from great promos to studio shots. Velvet Sky is really comfortable with an American rock and roll image. And the images are very, very good. Of course, I wanted to get some merch and to see what they would do for merch designs, but I couldn't find any. Too bad, because the merch designs could really, really be unique. There are some YouTube videos, there's some limited live gigs, there's some little coffee house, sidewalk cafe things, kind of neat stuff. Nothing really too special, but you get a sense of their talent and their passion for making music. Velvet Sky have a Euro pop new wave sound that is retro throwback to those classic new wave days. They're far from another ABBA, of course. Don't even put them in that capacity. They're not that whatsoever. They certainly are not American, but that's an asset. That's an asset. Velvet Sky are solid composers and do have some really nice initial recordings. So let's try this. I want you to listen to this. Let's listen to the tune called Under My Skin by the French pop new wave band called Velvet Sky, and I want you to feel their musical fiber. Listen to this. la la la. That really has a great style to it. That'll always be very popular on the Euro scene. That is Velvet Sky with their tune Under My Skin. Again, this is the new wave band from Toulouse, France. You know, they like to experiment with all kinds of new sounds, and that's very, very important. And of course, Velvet Sky have the talents, but they may not have the entire Euro pop market, as so many different bands try to attempt to play American pop there. Well, you know, they do a really great job of it, though. And of course, new wave, wow, you know, that's coming around all over again because it's a new wave. So, you know, gigs can also be slim in the club scene in Central Europe. I hear, of course, one of the better places to play is Berlin, one of the great cultural art capitals of Europe. So, fascinating band. I think they have some really cool stuff. On a scale of 1 to 5 on the Band-Aid musical scale, known as BAMs, I caress Velvet Sky with, yeah! 1 BAMs for being so refined and defined. You know, these are really great friends, and it shows. They love their art. They love to perform. And maybe, yeah! 1 BAMs for some solid writing and some, you know, limited, but some really good recorded offerings. I think they just need to do more. And again, get it out there and really getting it into other markets. And of course, yeah, let's do it. 1 BAMs for some superior images and of course some site design concepts that are fantastic. You know, they do keep in touch with their very diverse global fans. So they're out there and they're really active, and that is important for any band. So that's a total of 3 BAMs for the French pop new wave project called Velvet Sky. You know, Velvet Sky could easily generate some stronger American interest. They have that style and that quasi-Euro blend to attract attention. I can only imagine how much fun this band would have and the inspiration while touring the States. Well, the sky's the limit for France's Velvet Sky. That's all the artist injections that I can handle for this week. I like the buzz. It's so cool, and to discover and inject all these creative and national and deserving national and international talents. But you know, we're looking for your opinions because they are important, and we want your opinions on these weekly artist injections. All you have to do is visit our dedicated show website at bandaidwithdockrock.com and just click on future shows to find out who's going to be coming up, and then click on the injection artist input link. Check them out. Enter what you have to say to me about future artists and send it, because your artist opinion really does matter. All right. You know, many wonder if they can quit their day job and take a chance on a career in music. Given this economy and the new music business model, it is really a tough decision. Do you really have the talent and the artistic vision to make it professionally? Do you have what it takes? What is the criteria for this life-changing decision? You know, I'd like to say listen to your doc if you can sit through it while I offer a methodical exam of the issues, challenges, and related timelines to this perplexing and emotional process. Listen to what I have to offer. It could really change your life. And I'll say it right after this break. So, this is Band-Aid with Doc Rock. I'm Doc Rock. We're here on MorningShowCentral.com. The chat room is open. I got to take a break, and I'll see you in just a few. Thanks for watching.
Reliable and affordable Shoutcast audio or video hosting, JWN Media offers complete Shoutcast hosting solutions for business or personal use. All plans come with full listener stats, custom web scripts for implementing your service into your existing website, full server control, super fast network, and huge bandwidth limits, a 99.5% uptime guarantee, and friendly, knowledgeable support personnel dedicated to making your hosting experience fun and easy. With plans starting at only $3 a month, you have no excuse not to get a server of your own. Plus, with the option to add auto DJ and on-demand services, you can be confident your station will be all it can be. Custom plans are also available at their website. Simply visit jwnmedia.com and click the Shoutcast hosting link to get started right now. Cocaine Energy Supplement. Due to great consumer demand, Redux Beverages has officially announced the return of its world-famous Cocaine Energy Supplement. It's now available at retail locations across the country, as well as online at ReduxDirect.com. That's ReduxDirect.com. Don't forget to be part of the all-new Cocaine Energy Supplement social network. Network, where you can meet other Cocaine Energy Supplement fans from around the world. Cocaine Energy Supplement. You can become a member. By logging on to lovecocaine.com. Unbound. Unstoppable. Uncensored Net Noises Birthday Bash. Yeah! Get your ass to Fantasy Nightclub in Lakewood on Friday, September 23rd for live music for Morality Check, Demons Within, and The Thousandfold. Hosted by comedian Anthony Savat. Uncensored Net Noises Birthday Bash. Sponsored by Cocaine Energy Supplement. Get more details at morningshowcentral.com. Affordable and reliable web hosting done right. Jumping from one web host to another can be frustrating. Finding a good web host can be unnerving for even the most experienced of web designers. That's why Uncensored Net Noise has chosen P99 Technologies as its web hosting supplier. Established in 1999, P99 Technologies has evolved into a first-class web hosting provider. Its 99.9% uptime rivals many in the industry. That's why they offer their 30-day guarantee, no questions asked. For more information, go to P99.com. P99 P99 Technologies will help you get started with your web presence with honest and expert customer service. P99 Technologies. Affordable and reliable web hosting done right.
Breakdown.
Expert video production, television and web commercials, music video, real estate tours, live concerts and events, state-of-the-art post-production, video and audio editing. Check us out on the web at brokenfanmedia.com, 434-944-0472. Broken Fan Media, the next generation of sight and sound.
If you live the lifestyle, then you should arrive in style. Lifestyle Limousine Service. Whether it's dinner for two, an evening at the winery, or a night out on the town, Lifestyle Limousine provides extraordinary service. Check them out on the web, lifestylelimousineservice.com. Reserve your ride now. 330-903-0508. 330-903-0508. Lifestyle Limousine Service. And make sure you tell them Morning Show Central Radio Network sent you.
If you're looking for the best in musical equipment, recording gear, sound reinforcement, and more, Guitar Center has you covered. Guitar Center, located at 26635 Brook Park Road in North Olmsted, has the tools of your trade with the largest selection of music and sound gear in the area. They cater to your musical needs and have the knowledge to help you out. Guitar Center in North Olmsted. MorningShowCentral.com uses them. You should too. Need to know more? Go to GuitarCenter.com. From the Cocaine Energy Supplement Studio, you're listening to Morning Show Central Radio Network.
Welcome back to Band-Aid with Doc Rock. On Morning Show Central. Have you here. All right. This time I really want to talk to you, and I think it might be best we call this Facing the Music. That's right, Facing the Music. I want you to stop. I want you to just focus. I want you to relax. I want you to take just a couple of deep breaths with me. Just breathe in a little bit. All this career madness that you're going through, all of these challenges and contemplations, okay? I think it's time to just have a really good heart-to-heart talk about understanding your future potential, and the industry. And I really want to share this with you in the limited time that I have. You know, the best thing to do with it is when you break it all down, just let me spend a moment to remind you about the industry today. A lot of people have great misgivings about the industry. That there's major advances waiting to sign major artists, and and that there's just all of this glam and glory, and it's not there anymore. The model has changed. It is over with. And it exists for some of the big celebrities, but they're big celebrities for a reason. We'll get into that. But the idea is now with the whole indie industry, with web capability, all of that stuff, is there still room at the top? Sure. We always need stars. It's a little longer distance to get there, because in the old days when you had the record companies and the business model intact, they actually served as a definitive buffer. They actually decided who they wanted to go on, who to progress with their careers, and then how they put the money behind their careers, and did all the marketing, the distribution, all of that. Well, with most of that all being gone, the onus is upon you to get it done. So the industry model has changed. One of the first things you can do as an artist is learn the industry. If you're going to be in this business, learn the industry. Go to lefsetz.com, LEFSETZ.com. Sign up for Bob Lefsetz's free newsletter. It comes in your email a couple of times a day. And Bob really gets into great industry issues. Start, reading books and going to endless amounts of websites teaching you about the industry. Learn the industry that you're in. Stop dreaming. Stop listening to lots of others. Get out there and learn it for yourself. The industry has changed. Learn what it is and learn what you're pursuing. 2, let me tell you what it takes to get notice. Today we are in informational overload. It's happening to you, and many of you younger viewers don't even realize how much it's really happening to you and how much it's affecting you. When you're a little older generation, you know the difference. Your metabolism has changed. Our stress levels have gone up because of information overload. We're only human. We can't do all things and be all things to all people, yet everybody's trying to do it. So with information overload, information, and of course the web is all about access. You have access to everything. You've got keys and tools that people 20 years ago could only dream of for their careers. But there's overload. There's a ton of mediocrity out there because everybody has access. So all that mediocrity has got out there and sort of flatlined the industry interest. It takes a lot more oomph on your part, a lot more drive and desire, and a lot sharper marketing these days to penetrate that and to get people to begin to notice you and to get you into their overloaded minds and to understand your brand. So, there's all this overload taking place. What does it take to get noticed? The very first thing is, it does not take being of the mediocre and being of the mundane. If you're choosing to be in the entertainment industry, then you must be an entertainer. And I've said to all kinds of lengths upon this show over the 2 years, there are differences. There are musicians who play musical instruments and play them well, and their career stops there. There are artists, and the artists are ones who can take in their surroundings and use their artistic expression with their instruments, and the voice being an instrument as well, and to take that and to be able to create something that's interesting art. It would not be like a blank canvas on a wall. It's color, it's texture, you know, it's scale. So these are people that can do this even with music. They are artists. Then there are performers. The performer is the next level. The performer is the one who can carry that art onto a stage, and while they're on that stage, get people to stop and notice them. They like performing that art, bringing it to kind of a live context, whereas musicians and maybe artists may not be performers. There are differences. And then at the top, there are the entertainers. And there are the entertainers and, of course, the iconic entertainers. And what the common thread is with those entertainers is you're the ones who can do anything with a sense of finesse and anything with a sense of style that is beyond what most mortal man, the most common man, is within the grips of their realm of understanding. You know, this is why they're called stars. Stars are things that are well over our head, that we admire their beauty, but they're out of our reach. That's what makes celebrities and stars celebrities. And that's a great thing to aspire to if you want to go to the top. There's always room at the top for an iconic entertainer. It's getting there that is a little more difficult. So in getting noticed, you really have to do a lot of self-evaluation. In self-evaluation, you know, the first thing you have to sort of ask yourself is, look, what are your goals for success? Why are you even doing this? It's a hard question. It's a real hard question for a lot of people to handle. Step back and really ask yourself inside emotionally a very personal question. Why am I doing this? What are my reasons? You know, are you somebody who's out there just, you know, who really wants to run this as a maybe you aren't an artist or an entertainer, maybe you're in a business aspect of it. Do you realize how many managers and agents and executives and people in the industry formerly had music careers? They were performers. They understand how performers feel, but they also realize at some point that their business minds are worth far more when applied to being in the business as opposed to being in the entertainment on stage or performer aspect of the business. So again, you know, that's one aspect of it. You could be in the business. You know, are you doing it just for, you know, for a sense of egotistical pleasure? Nothing wrong with that whatsoever. Stars thrive on people. Stars thrive on being noticed. You know, are you doing it because you really, when you really want to prove to somebody that you can do it, family, friend, girlfriend, whatever it may be, that you really got that star power and you're just fighting and fighting and fighting and willing to suffer and die because you've just got to prove to them that they can do it. You know, are you really even just trying to be a professional at what you're doing? And so many aren't. They miss it. You really need to evaluate what your goals are, what you want to do. Some say, you know what, Doc, I just want to be able to make a living being a pro. I just want to pay my bills, have a house, have a family, go on tour, have life on my terms because of my artistry. You know what? That's a great goal. If you have a higher goal than that, that's fine. You know, I often say, shoot for the moon. You might miss and hit a star. It's okay to have high goals. But being a professional, sure. Sure. You know, a lot of times you can be so proficient on an instrument, join the musicians union, get into orchestras, get into jazz ensembles, get into these types of things, and those are professionals. And they make a very good living with full benefits doing what they're doing. That is fully capable of being done, but it's not going to happen, you know, if you're in a screamo band, okay? And it's not going to happen if you're, you know, a musician that doesn't fit into that context, obviously. But the thing is, by identifying, you know, your goals for success and then working toward those goals, really be honest with yourself. It's very difficult for artists to do because artists are all over being inspired by so many external things that they bring in, and they internally are churning them, and they're just, they're moving in all these different directions, and many times artists are not grounded. And so the key to that is being grounded, knowing what you want, going after what you want, and asking for what you want. Stop assuming, stop dreaming, go for it. Ask the question of yourself, and then ask for the help of others. You just have to really define, are you really star material? If you're going to be a star entertainer and you want to go all the way to the top, well, do you really have what it takes? Do you really have what it takes? Again, that's a really hard question. What are your creative talents? How good are you at creating? I'm not saying just doing something a little bit different, but doing something that is new, that's going to change a sense of our culture and humanity, and drawing attention from the ordinary person to look at what your artistic offering is. It goes a lot more than just writing a song and throwing some lyrics to it. It's capturing a pulse. We work on a pulse, and everybody feels a pulse. All the media knows this. This is why they generate news stories out there to get you emotionally involved. This is why TV shows love to get you involved into these things. There's always the good guy, the bad guy syndrome. But again, it's out there. There's a pulse of what the people are seeing and thinking and feeling, and you want to get onto that pulse. If you're in some way leading a culture and leading a sense of a new mentality, a new place to go, people are really interested in the new. So are you really creating that? Are you that creative, or are you just regurgitating the old and adding a little twist to it and just hoping it's going to sell? Okay, odds are it won't. Audio, being a star material, do you really sound good? Do you really sound good? It's really hard. One of the downfalls I'll share with you of my career back in the early 70s was my voice. I don't have a good voice. I'm a terrible singer. When I sing Happy Birthday, the candles put themselves out. It's terrible, okay? The idea is this. I knew that with my career, and I worked really hard to try to get around that with all kinds of effects and styles and things about my voice. But the idea is if you don't have it, and you take vocal lessons. If none of this works and you just don't have it, then guess what? You just don't have it. You just don't have it. Deal with it. Deal with it. Does it mean that your career is over with? Absolutely not. Sometimes when you realize that you hit that wall and you can't go any further because you don't have those God-given gifts to move any further, then all you do is pick yourself up, move in another direction, and go. Maybe it doesn't have to be voice, okay? There's all kinds of different ways around it, and there's all kinds of great careers that have happened without being vocal careers. So check yourself out really in terms of audio. Listen to yourself. Get professional training. Be the best that you possibly can be, but be real. Also the visual. Look at all the stars. What do they have in common? Visual appeal. They have visual identity and visual appeal. And the idea with that is basically that these are people that look usually different than the common man, and they want to look different. They want to create styles and trends. Your mindset has got to be on the creative. If you are following the current trends that are out there, you're done. They have the current trends. People have already invested in the current trends. They don't want more of the same. And we're flatlining because so much of it, and you complain about it a lot, and I complain about it a lot, gee, there's nothing new. There's nothing that's exciting me. It's because a lot of us as consumers are willing to accept mediocrity. Okay, we're falling into this whole flatline situation where we're just accepting mediocrity, and when something comes along that's a little bit bizarre, wild, and wonderful, people just gravitate toward it, and it just blows right to the top. Look at Lady Gaga. There's a great example right there. Love her, hate her, she'll sell out more than anybody, and she puts on one hell of a show, okay? So, there's a great example. But look at the visual. Look how hard she works at the visual. Look at bands that create new trends with their clothing and their looks. And I'm not talking about stars that are just seemingly doing well in your world. I'm talking about stars that have longevity and have a wide variety of options for their careers. They can sing, they can dance, they can do fashion lines, they do fragrance lines, they do TV, they start into movies. These are big, iconic careers in multimedia. Those are are the real big stars. But look at the common thread in all of them. Again, they have a visual branding. If I say to you somebody's name, you immediately have an image in mind. If I say to you Elvis, Elton John, Lady Gaga, you know, the Rolling Stones, the Beatles, Alice Cooper, Marilyn Manson, all those images to every one of those names, you equate that with a single image in your mind. They have done a good job of branding themselves right into your mind. Jimi Hendrix, there's another one. Jim Morrison of the Doors, okay? Look at those great careers. And what is it? There's an image that goes with every one of them. The problem we have is with the cell phone is everybody's so afraid of an immediate picture being taken of them, or them caught in some kind of compromising image that can be all over the web. If you're afraid of what a cell phone can do to you, you don't need to be in the entertainment business. You need to fight to be in front of those cameras. You need to create fun, crazy things in front of those cameras that can be used to your advantage. So, you know, look at the visual. Look at your personality as well. You know, you want to have a personality that is interesting, saying interesting things. Roll your tongue 3 times before you say it, okay? Say things that are of value to humanity and to culture, not just mindless slop, okay? You know, we're done with that. We're really done with that. We're losing as a nation because because our education levels are dropping, you know, and we are certainly dumbing down. So just read letters from 100 years ago. Just read letters written and handwritten from 100 years ago. Look at the eloquence in those letters and the education and self-expression behind them. We're losing it at a very, very fast rate. It's going to be a renaissance and it's going to be a recovery. Are you going to be there? Are you going to be a renaissance recovery artist? So personality has a lot to do with that. Having the ability to be out there and to smile no matter what and to try to be positive no matter what. You know, again, attitudes are contagious. Attitudes are totally contagious. You know, stars go in there and light up a room. They can walk into a room and just light it up. There's an anticipation before a star walks on stage, and you know it because you go to a lot of concerts, that 10 seconds when the show is about to start, and everybody's all excited because the star is going to enter the room, okay? They've arrived. Wow, because what? They have personality and they have all of this pre-build that works so well. And people paid good money to be there to see it and be in their presence. So personality is a lot of everything. How can you do things to improve that? Record yourself on camera just like I'm doing right now, okay? Listen to yourself, watch yourself, listen to what you're saying, okay? You want to be able to really look at these aspects of audio, visual, personality. You know, do you have all those things? Are you working to build yourself, to go through all that discipline to build yourself into what is a quality product that's in demand by the industry? So many fall so short of that. So many have one facet of that covered, but not another. They are visually beautiful, but they sound like hell. They are beautifully audio in every aspect of it, but they don't look very good. One can compensate the other if they are certainly radically in another direction. A great example might be Meatloaf. Go back and look at the artist Meatloaf. You know, his name's Marvin. He's from a Baptist church, you know, in Texas. And here's a heavy-set man called Meatloaf. How unflattering is that? And he would wear the, you know, the open button tuxedo shirts, okay? And he was very operatic, but he was so incredibly animated on stage. The sweat would roll off of his big jaws, and he had a voice that could blow an audience away. He barely even needed a PA system. He was amazing to see, okay? And he didn't have all the visual, but he took his awkwardness, his overweightedness, and he built it into part of his career. It takes the brilliance to be able to do this, to get it out there. So look at yourself, rate what's good, rate what's not good, address what is not good. Don't be afraid of it. Address your fears. The very things that you're weakest of, that you're afraid of, are the very things you need to face to get better. I also want to make sure that you understand that you can handle public attention. You know, you need to be out there in the public eye, commanding public attention. If you have all of these things nailed down, the public's going to be watching. Can you handle it? Okay, it's very important that you learn how to do that. One of the common threads you'll find through all these successful people is they have a self-discipline, a burning flame in their gut that they're gonna make their career happen no matter what. And boy, any executive, anybody in the industry can feel the heat from that gut. of somebody who just wants to get, bring themselves to the top and is willing to do whatever it takes to improve themselves physically, to improve themselves on an audio level, to be creative, to try new things. They can tell that. And they are the very first people who will get the deals because they have that burning desire in their gut. They're not going to be, so what about something? There is no backseat. There is no modesty, never in show business. So again, you want to be able to have that self-discipline. I'll also tell you, get organized. Get organized. I deal with so many artists, and I will sit down and talk with them, and few ever bring a notebook, few ever take notes, few ever have, follow up on anything that I give them, okay? It is almost a waste of my time. They lose their notes. They can't remember the phone number of the person they called. It's endless. They're their own worst enemies. Get organized. All of these aspects are the responsibility of you perfecting yourself to be a pro. So you want to get in there and you want to do that. When you think you've got it all together, ask others. Ask others about how you're doing. Ask others who are not family and friends. And they'll love you no matter what. Ask the general public, okay? Get together with a small think tank of people, and show them product and say, hey, rate this. On a scale of 1 to 10, what do you think about this? What about that? What about that? Do it with a wide, set of demographics for people. See what they really think, okay? You want to use these methodical methods to really start packaging yourself properly so that you are the product. Let me tell you one aspect of that being artistic vision. Is there one right way or wrong way about being artistic? No, there is not. Who's to judge? It's a tough one. But the public judges because the public reacts to you. So, how do you really define artistic vision? When you see something, challenge your mind. How many artistic ways can you see that? I would tell you to go take a paper cup. Set a paper cup on a table in front of you. Now think about all the different things about that paper cup. Noise that it makes, colors it can be, function, shape, all these types of things. As mindless as that everyday item is, how can your mind take that item and move that item until it has a greater sense of enlightenment, a greater sense of value, okay? An artistic mind is able to do that. An artistic mind can look at something and create instantly from it and create something that is in demand. It is a natural talent. And that is a natural talent that is versus a contrived talent. Contrived talent is a forced talent. That's somebody out there who's had a lifetime of lessons and doesn't have the natural talent. It doesn't flow. They work so hard at it. And the one thing that any type of person wants in an artist, they love to see people where something happens so naturally and so effortlessly, it looks so easy. Yet for the common man, it is so difficult to do. There is value in people wanting to go see that, okay? Any man can walk, but how many men can walk on a high wire without a safety net, okay? That person's still walking. But people will go and pay money at the circus to watch the high wire person walk in a very risky manner. So, the idea is that with natural talent, to find if you have it. If you have that natural talent, it's unstoppable. And the industry can tell when people have it. Express yourself as an artist. I want you to get out there and a very deep, dark thing that you're thinking about, that you've always been afraid to express it. Get it out there. Odds are, I'm telling you, it's going to be the one thing out in left field, the one thing that your inner deepest, darkest secret that you were so afraid of will probably wind up being your greatest success, okay? Because you have to bring it out. When you bring it out, there's a cleansing internally that happens with that, and all of a sudden you feel comfortable, and you radiate, and you are unstoppable. You're like an artistic freight train. You've got to be there in doing that. Having all of this, that's defining you. That's defining you. That is a huge, huge portion of who you are and what you offer. Now you've got to take that and sell yourself. How do you take that to the marketplace? You hear me talking about branding, you hear me talking about marketing all the time. It is a huge area where bands just don't get it. I'll post a video, I'll post a couple of pictures. That doesn't cut it. It has to go far more than that. And your presentation, your videos, your merch, your photos, you hear me say it on the show all the time where I downgrade so much of it because so much of it doesn't tie in with the natural artistic expression of the band. It's not a cohesive package. It's strewn out there. It's askew. It doesn't do you any good. Tight things, they all have to be tight. How does that work? Teamwork. Teamwork. You know, you'll never be a success alone. It's not going to happen. You're going to be a success with a team. No athlete is a star unto themselves. An athlete is a star because of the team. So what I ask of you is with a teamwork, select a team. It doesn't mean a manager or an agent. It can be people who care about you, who are willing to say, you know what, that shirt doesn't look good on you, or you didn't sound so good in that recording, okay? Or you looked a little pale and flush and your stage presence didn't look very animated at the gig Friday night. Get a team around you. The President of the United States has a huge team that he needs, okay? And look at the pressure he's under to be an iconic star, all right? Whether you like him or not. You got to have a team around you. So start establishing a team that can be your guardrails and keep you in the lane, moving straight toward your goal. It's going to happen with teamwork. Once you get your branding together and the things that really represent who you are, you know, get them to the people who make a difference. Listen to that sentence again. Get yourself in front of the people that make a difference in your career. Don't waste your time going out there and just playing the same little random clubs to your same random friends who have to buy tickets to every one of your gigs and show up at your CD release parties. They like you, but they're not your audience at large. Get to the people in the industry that are the decision makers. Get to them, okay? Get to them. This is what stars do. Stars are relentless to going to top people. Why would you be afraid of the best people in the industry? Why would you fear them? You know, the people who are iconic people are growing older. And to make their world more stable, they need new, younger talent. They need new talent. They need new brands. They'd like nothing more than to sit in an easy chair and gain royalties from that, okay? They're looking for you, but you're not in the market where they are. How do you get to them? Find out who your target people are. Do your work. You know, there's something as simple as Polestar, POLLSTAR.com. It's even on the helpful resource links of bandywithdocrock.com. Go to Polestar.com. It is the industry Bible. It's a weekly hard publication. It's a magazine that goes to everybody in the live concert industry worldwide. Polestar is privately owned, so it doesn't really have a big agenda, okay, other than presenting the numbers on concert sales and who's doing what and new things in the industry. You know, Polestar prescriptions are a little costly, but it's worth it. If you're a pro, you want to get your hands on Polestar. What does Polestar offer? Polestar offers a series of directories that are the best directories in the industry. What are they? There's the Talent Buyer's Guide. You know, many bands come to me and say, Doc, I'd like to play colleges or I'd like to play clubs. I need to get a gig in Lexington, Kentucky. I need to get a gig in Abilene, Texas. I don't know who to go to. It's all there. City by city, state by state, every talent buyer, email, website, telephone. It's all there, validated, verified, published information. Every tour manager for bands has one of those in their briefcase because they sure need it. It's available to you. Polestar publishes things like the managers and agents directory. Who are all the managers? You can find out who the managers are of any major talents. If you are a like talent, if you say, you know what, gosh, I sound as good as I don't know what, any great band, okay? Who's the manager? You can look it up. Okay, and you can contact that manager and say, you know what, we have something that we think you'd be interested in because we are reminiscent of a lot of your other artists. Get to people who make a difference. Polestar publishes a record company directory. All the record labels, indie and the majors, how to get to them, who their artists rosters are. It's all there. It's all there for anybody. Okay? If you decide in co-op with a couple other bands, chip your money in to get these directories and then share them with each other. They're also available online, polestar.com. The idea behind that is target the people whom you want to get to. And they're not just hanging in your own hometown. There's an old saying, a prophet is but a fool in his own hometown. Okay? Get out of your town and get to people in the places and the cities that make a difference. You've got to do that. Your hometown is not going to make you, and your hometown is not going to support you, and it does not have the capability of supporting you to be a pro. Get to the right people. Target who they are. If you find a name in a Polestar directory, who is the manager of a band that you really like and you really think you can do as good or not better than that band, then go on there and Google that manager's name. Find out about them. Where do they go to school? Are they on LinkedIn? Find out as much as you can about them. And you know what? You might find a common link right there that may open the door for them to just know you and listen to you. Okay? But get to the right people. It's very important in branding yourself and marketing yourself. Ask yourself with all that, you know, and ask yourself what your pitch is. Create a pitch. You've heard me say it on this show. You know, finish this sentence. My band is so good because blank, 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 blank. It is your responsibility to fill in those blanks. And it's not a matter of saying, gee, we write great songs, or our guitarist is really cool. None of that matters. Everybody's got that. What makes your band, your brand of entertainment, so incredibly special, so naturally gifted that people are going to pay to see you? Ask yourself, would you pay money to go see yourself on stage? Okay, another hard question. But these are honest questions. You want to be out there, and you want to go out and get to the people who make a difference. Package yourself well, identify yourself, package yourself well, and get it out there to the people that can open doors for you. I am often asked, how long will you pursue your dream? How long are you really going to do this, okay, before you know what to do and before you know when to give it up and to go to another career? First of all, you have to balance what you're doing with another career. It is a given economical fact. Most every band has a day job. Gotta have it, gotta do it. It is reality. What you're doing with your career is working yourself, and all that extra time, the overtime that you're spending, you're investing in yourself to further your career. If you're working a 40 or 50 or 60-hour week day job, in those additional hours, guess what? There's no TV. There's not fromping around the web and surfing and spending a lot of mindless hours on social networking, okay? You need to spend that time invested in yourself. That's the self-discipline that stars have, to strive to perfect themselves, to pull themselves up, okay? You've got to do that by your very own bootstraps. So, you know, you've got to have a day job, but balance it with your career. In that balance, if you work hard enough with your career and your career begins to escalate enough that the day job can deflate and you can eventually the day job, you've done a brilliant job that the majority of bands and artists cannot do, okay? And you did it for all the reasons we've talked about with your discipline. You know, with life changes and adaptation, you know, sure, it's going to be demanding. Sure, you have to sacrifice. Every artist, if you read the biographies of so many artists, there is a ton of sacrifice in their backgrounds. And many of them started with nothing. Look at the Motown artists. They started with nothing, off the streets, and had the raw talent and worked so endlessly hard to build these big careers. Okay? It's still out there. It's still happening. Read some of the biographies of other artists and realize what happens. But they have to make life changes in order for it to happen. Okay? And it may even be to a loved one, to a lover, saying, I need to spend a little less time. We can't date as much because I've got to keep going on my career. If they love you, they'll understand and they'll support you in your goal of going forward. So, you know, those are things that are very, very important to do. But at a timeline, you know, if you get into your late 20s and your 30s and you're going, I'm not getting anywhere, it's because you haven't accomplished any one of these many goals. Something's wrong in there, okay? It is not about luck. It is about, luck is such a small part of it. It is about going out there and doing the work, having the discipline and getting it done. So, you know, I can't say to you, you need to make it in 5 years or drop, or 10 years or drop, or otherwise. You know, sometimes people don't have the best things in their careers don't happen even until later in life when they find something. Ray Kroc, the founder of McDonald's, okay? He didn't start McDonald's till he was in his late 50s, and he was nothing more than a milkshake salesman, but he saw a product called the French fry being done, and he thought, wow, this is great, I can do something with it. And he started in his late 50s and started the entire McDonald's empire. You know, artist careers are the same way. It doesn't mean that you have to be a teen to do it. It can happen at any point, but you've got to be good, you know, to do it. So be smart, pay your bills, be strategic, you know, get out there and balance your life, okay? But keep applying more to your life's passion so you can go out there and be an artist. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. It does not mean you failed whatsoever. There's a lot of other ways in the industry that you can help in so many other ways and have a fulfilling life and still be around the artist circles and the things that you really like to do. So, you know, it's very important. And I often say to you, you know, with things, also give back. You were given your talent for a reason. Give back. Play some benefit gigs. You know, it works. The spirit of goodness does work. If you're out there playing a benefit show for veterans, for nursing homes, whatever, you'd be surprised. You would be surprised how one person there will go, you're really good. Oh, by the way, my son-in-law happens to be the CEO of the very company that you're dying to get to. Okay? So when mom calls and says, listen to this artist, that person who you couldn't get to on your own volition, the door will be opened. And it happened through you doing a good deed. It happens all the time. So get out there and give of yourself, you know, in support of humanity. Be recognized for being charitable and for helping humanity. And you'll be amazed at how some doors can open in the most unlikely places. There are endless stories about that. Also, in changing your life circles, look at your life as a whole. If there are things that are dragging you down that don't influence your art, you know, that are just negative in your life, get rid of them. If you have the power to get rid of them, get rid of them. You know, make life changes. Go different places. Go to different clubs if you want to. You may meet different people. You know, go fill up your car at a different gas station. Go buy your groceries from a different store. Drive a different way to school. Take a walk around your neighborhood that you've never done before and meet a few new people. Keep your mind open and your options open and your interaction with humanity open, because this works as a synthesis to keep your artistic expression going and your mind active. As you get older, you fall into routine. Work to fight routine. Do not fall into routine. Artists don't even know. The major successes in the entertainment industry don't even know what the word routine means, because life throws so much at them, but they always hit a home run with it, which is why they're in big demand. Lastly, what I want to share with you is to say, you know, shut down all the tech madness, you know, and I want you to seek that inner reflection. Again, seek the inner reflection. Pull from the inside out. It's so very important. You know, there's the one thing about follow your heart, follow your instincts and your inner sense, and go after them with a hot pursuit. That is the person that you are. That's the success that you're going to be. A lot of these other things that we're spending all of our sensual time with are not enhancing. They're not good for you. So, you know, take the time to do a lot of inward reflection. This is why a lot of your major stars do yoga. There's a lot of major stars of inner reflective things and a lot of inner spiritual things, because you have to connect with yourself. If you're too busy swirling and swirling and swirling, you aren't grounded. You've got to be grounded in order to do all the things that I've just told you about. Your talent is eternal. Nobody will ever take it from you. It is a gift inside of you, but you've got to do all these things to manifest it, market it, package it, get it presented properly to the people that can really make a difference. If you've done all that, you're on your way. Thanks for listening. Hey, I've got to tell you, too, about some great things at MorningShowCentral.com. You know, we're a really fun place. We have all kinds of shows all throughout the week. And, of course, if you go to MorningShowCentral.com, you'll see the listing of all the different shows. And, of course, one of my favorite ones on Thursday nights is a video game show. It's a lot of fun. It's on Thursdays from 7 to 8 p.m., and it's called One Life to Play. That's right. It's a fast-paced show where you'll hear news, views, and reviews about gaming, mixed with occasional interviews from some of Electronic Entertainment's premier journalist, developers, and and publishers. So tune in to see live demos, tournaments, and even the frag of the week here on One Life to Play, only on MorningShowCentral.com. I also got to remind you, now that we're in September, September 23rd is a great evening because our greatest show called Uncensored Net Noise, 5 years it's been on MorningShowCentral.com. They're going to have their 5-year anniversary birthday party. It's going to be at the Great Fantasy Nightclub on Friday, September 23rd. You know, the comedian Anthony Savat's going to be the MC. There's the band's Morality Check, Demons Within, and 1,000 Fold. So you got 3 great bands that are rocking the house starting at 9 p.m. that evening. Tickets are just $5 for those 21 and over, and $8 if you're under 21. So visit MorningShowCentral.com for details. It's always going to be a party. It's a really great event. I love getting there each year, and would love to see you there as well. By the way, speaking of great events, if you have an idea for a show, well, why don't you come down to MorningShowCentral.com here in downtown Cleveland and tour our studios. All you have to do is email Chris at MorningShowCentral.com, and Chris would like to take you through the studios, show you what we offer, listen to your great idea, because it might be a fantastic idea with a new show for you. And while you're here, by the way, we share a building with something really special, one of the best-kept secrets in Cleveland. Well, everybody's learning about it now, but it's called Creative House Studios. Creative House Studios is the largest free market green screen studio in the state of Ohio. It is a fantastic, best production studio for doing your music videos. Incredible place. I guarantee you, you're going to say, wow, when you see these facilities. It's as great as anything in this country, right here in Cleveland. And it's a free marketplace. So in other words, you can bring in your own film crew, your editors, all of that, and at a real savings. You've got to tour it, and when you tour MorningShowCentral.com, just arrange your tour with Peter. Peter is at peter@creativehousestudios.com, or his cell phone is 216-225-6592. He'd love to show you around the studio. It is fantastic. So it'd be really great for you to see that. Okay, well, listen, I've got to take a break and pull myself back together again and get ready for the recovery room, because, whew, I'm going to need it tonight. After the short break, please hang to join me in the recovery room as I salute a young instrumental trio called The Colonel. That's right. These dudes are mad crazy psychedelic funk rock and drive the beats like mortal fire. It is creative and cool, so snap to attention as we fall in with The Colonel. Don't break rank. I'll see you in a few on the front line, right here in the recovery room. This is Band-Aid with Doc Rock. I'll see you in just a few.
Oh, great. Not another Farmville request. Check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/morningshowcentral. Denying one Farmville request at a time. Unbound. Unstoppable. Uncensored Net Noises Birthday Bash. Yeah! Get your ass to Fantasy Nightclub in Lakewood on Friday, September 23rd for live music for Morality Check, Demons Within, and the 1,000 Fold. Hosted by comedian Anthony Savat. Uncensored Net Noises Birthday Bash. Sponsored by Cocaine Energy Supplement. Get more details at MorningShowCentral.com. Cocaine Energy Supplement. Due to great consumer demand,
Redux Beverages has officially announced the return of its world-famous Cocaine Energy Supplement.
it's now available at retail locations across the country.
As well as online at ReduxDirect.com.
That's ReduxDirect.com.
Don't forget to be part of the all-new Cocaine Energy Supplement social network,
where you can meet other Cocaine Energy Supplement fans from around the world.
Cocaine Energy Supplement.
You can become a member.
By logging on to lovecocaine.com.
P99 Technologies. Affordable and reliable web hosting done right. Jumping from one web host to another can be frustrating. Finding a good web host can be unnerving for even the most experienced of web designers. That's why Uncensored Net Noise has chosen P99 Technologies as its web hosting supplier. Established in 1999, P99 Technologies has evolved into a first-class web hosting provider. Its 99.9% uptime rivals many in the industry. That's why they offer their 30-day guarantee, no questions asked. For more information, go to P99.com. P99 Technologies will help you get started with your web presence with honest and expert customer service. P99 Technologies. Affordable and reliable web hosting done right.
clutter, brand your identity, and make a statement. Broken Fan Media. Expert video production, television and web commercials, music video, real estate tours, live concerts and events, state-of-the-art post-production, video and audio editing. Check us out on the web at brokenfanmedia.com. 434-944-0472. Broken Fan Media. The next generation of sight and sound.
From the Cocaine Energy Supplement Studio, you're listening to Morning Show Central Radio Network.
MorningShowCentral.com. As you can tell, we're having fun already. We're in the recovery room with the Colonel. All right. Woo, great band. Wild trio tonight. Now, one of the troops is still out there lost, so that's okay. But we heard some great music from the Colonel. What did we hear? 2 tunes?
Yeah, that was a first track called Paper Thin. And then the second track you guys heard was Glockenspiel.
Glockenspiel, good German song. Oh, okay.
Exactly.
That's cool. Now, for those of you who don't know the Colonel, if you guys want to just take a second to introduce yourselves, please.
My name is Sam Brzezowski. I play guitar.
My name's Cody. I play bass and also the keyboards.
Bass and keyboards, same time? Really? Wow, that's why they're the Colonel. Okay, so.
And then our drummer Cameron, who was missed tonight.
Cameron can't make it.
He's the drummer.
Cameron. Oh no, you gotta have the drummer. I mean,
of course.
That's important too.
He will be
Cameron's
missed.
really great. So this is cool stuff. And you guys have been together since what, 2010? Did I see? So fairly recently.
Yeah.
Fairly recently. And may I ask how you met? Is this a going to school kind of thing, and met as school friends?
Yeah, we actually all went to the same high school, but the way we all kind of met was just playing kind of in and out of bands with each other. They were. Him and Cameron were actually in a band before I had met them, and then I started booking their band for different live shows with the band that I was in.
Oh, really?
I noticed that Cameron was this 16-year-old prodigy on drums, and then
aren't they always?
Right, of course. And then Cody, was just a phenomenal bass player. So I was like, I think I'll pluck those two guys out.
Really?
Yeah.
What ended up happening is when me and Cameron's band ended up splitting up, is we were going to work on a project that was super electronic heavy, and then we just decided to invite Sam over for a practice, and it just kind of happened from there.
That happened from there, huh? Smart. Keep the businessman in the band, okay? Smart band.
We'd fall apart without him.
Well, that's important, and I'm, it's great as a trio but I really admire that because a lot of bands, think I'm going to throw a lot of instruments at the project, and a lot of instruments aren't the answer. It's you do more with less. Because less instruments means better note definition, better intonation. The audience attention is not thrown all over the whole stage with everybody. There's no clutter. And, trios, historically in rock, trios have done very, very well. So I think that's very, very impressive. Tell me the unusual name of the Colonel, because I had to read this a couple of times. But, I hadn't thought about a band with kind of a military. For the kind of stuff that you're doing. So I know there's a story behind it. Tell us, please.
Yeah, it actually kind of started out as almost kind of a joke. Whenever someone would make a wrong turn down a road or get the wrong venue or something screwed up, they were the Colonel. They were in charge of the problem.
Okay.
And then it kind of evolved from there to where we decided on that name, and we were kind of teeter-tottering from if we're going to do that or not. And then after a while we did a few shows and it really stuck. People really, really kind of enjoyed it. They related to that for whatever reason.
Sure.
And it turned out really, really well. And now it's kind of this serious thing to where we kind of look at it as the Colonel. It takes a long time to be ranked as a Colonel, and all of us have had past band experiences, 2 or 3 bands under our belt. So it took us a while to get to this point. Where we were happy with it.
So if you keep going, you'll be a general, and then you start going to 1-star, 2-star, 3-star.
Right.
And you need a little logo the whole time.
Get our stripes.
What do you think about the Colonel? You think of the Kentucky Fried Chicken Colonel and everything else.
We get that a lot.
Oh, do you really? Do you really a lot? Oh my gosh! Don't use it. Oh, please don't use it. No, thank you. All right. Well, now then along with this. So why the decision to go instrumentals? Because you're not finding a lot of instrumental bands these days, and then is it that you don't want to do lyrics? The voices aren't so great, or you just prefer to be instrumental?
That's one of the biggest things we get a lot is a lot of people are well, you should add vocals, it'll be perfect. But we like to keep it instrumental. It's not that we can't sing because Sam's actually a phenomenal singer.
Really?
But we just We just care not to sing. We like to kind of paint the picture with the music, not as opposed to giving like lyrics for people to follow.
So it's painting a picture, in which I can certainly understand. So it's got a very, in the audio, if you will, there's a sense of the visual that you're trying to get across, so people's minds. Okay, I understand. And that's where I guess the psychedelic sort of comes into this, because I thought, what a combination, psychedelic, funk, rock and all, and I thought, it's kind of neat. I'm curious from your viewpoint, how would you define psychedelic? And don't say Cameron, because he's not here.
No. We all have a really good base as far as like music theory goes. We're all great composers, and but the one thing that we decided to kind of go psychedelic is that all of us kind of have this overall love of just strange noises and just like things that really stand out to people, to where they're like, because everyone hears bass, drums, and a guitar. You know what I mean? There's that on every single CD you'll ever hear.
The foundation.
Exactly. But when you start adding in like the synths and like the different like sweeps and arpeggios and different things like that, or even when it comes down to like different guitar techniques, when people hear that, I think it really kind of takes on a life of its own, and then you start expressing yourself with those weird noises, where it gets really interesting, to where you're not using it as like a weapon anymore. You're actually using it as like a part of the music.
It's a blending, if you will. It's an artistic blending. Kind of neat stuff. Absolutely. So now you're taking that, and then conversely with that, though, Sam, you're funk.
Right.
What the funk is funk?
Well, we have a really big influence off of like P-funk bands like Parliament.
Okay.
That's the kind of stuff that I grew up listening to, and I aspired.
Shoes. Okay, I just little George Joplin from there. Okay.
I aspired to be Bootsy Collins, like the dad.
Oh yeah, sure.
So it just kind of went from there. I just always, as soon as I picked up bass, like the first thing I wanted to do was start slapping.
Really?
Yeah, that was like my first aspiration.
Okay. So, but with the funk though, it's more than just slapping a bass. I mean, isn't it that gut beat, that strong downbeat?
Right.
Punch.
Yeah. It's not necessarily being like a lead bassist. You have to have the rhythm too, and that's where me and Cameron click really well, because we've been playing for so long.
Okay.
Is we're a great rhythm and bass section.
I see.
And where Sam can do his leads over top. Like me and Cameron have been playing so long together that a lot of the times we can just freestyle.
Okay.
And just like make up stuff as we go.
I see.
While he's doing his stuff.
And gives the standards
I get to noodle around.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I hope he doesn't make more money than the rest of you. Or anything. It should be a three-way split,
Well, of course.
But so when you're blending all of this, how do you write these instrumentals? I really like the stuff that you're doing, but then, because most people, it's not like regular songwriting. So do you get together and just start laying down the beat and building on the beat, and then Sam just shreds in over the top, or,
it's such a odd process, because like so many times you get kind of like trapped into this like verse, chorus, verse, bridge, chorus, you know what I mean?
We're very regimented.
So like now when you take away any kind of like vocal pattern, or like you actually take away like the measures per whatever, you know what I mean? When you take all that away, what you're left with is what feels good, actually musically, what sounds musically sound, but then you also have this what feels just like right as far as the music, and where it's like kind of taking it. A lot of people say our songs are really kind of like long as far as like industry standard. Like most of our songs average around like 6 minutes or so, and that's just because we don't feel the song is done. And as far as our like songwriting process, it's largely different every single time. Sometimes like Cody and Cameron will kind of come in with the bass umps, and then sometimes I'll actually write an entire piece on guitar, and then they kind of like, and that's the great part, is that I can take anything to them, and it just becomes this completely different animal.
Do you find this with writing, though, do you find that it's kind of, because of the very structure that you're talking about, or lack of structure, it's mood oriented? I mean, do you find yourself, if you guys are in, in sort of an upbeat mood, that that you'll pull that, the tune is kind of an emotional reflection, if you will. Yeah. Okay. Because most, both bands are like that, because again, they're, being colorful, being expressive. Again, like I said earlier in the show, it all comes from within. And if you don't put the rigidity onto it of Western programmatic music, like you've talked about, it's a sense of freestyling.
Yeah.
It's just that freestyle, and it's really good. And don't you find yourself as musicians growing in a better direction that way, rather than being so regimented?
Yeah, absolutely. It kind of gives you this sense of freedom as far as, style is, because like when we go and we approach a song, it's not like, oh, we have to sound this way or we have to have like this kind of like vocal pattern or even guitar or whatever. It's very much so to do with,
It's not preconceived.
Not at all. You know, I mean, like very, very much so. A lot of times it's
Bless you, we need that.
it's very much so in the moment. Yeah. But yeah.
Cool stuff. Now, there's a new release that's due. What did I read it somewhere? I forget. But new release is entitled "An Endless Contradiction."
That's right.
Which is so appropriate for what you just explained about your music. I mean, literally, it's right there. I think that's a really cool title. And it's going to be like 10 tracks.
Roughly, yeah. Maybe possibly some more.
Really?
If the length of the CD can hold more songs.
Wow. Yeah, of course, it's 5 to 6 minutes apiece. Yeah, exactly. 1 hour of continuous listening. I think that's cool. When is it coming out? Have you got an idea yet?
Yeah, September 24th.
Wow.
We set the date. So yeah, it's actually going to be later on this month at a place called Jupiter Studios in Alliance.
Okay.
It's a little bit out of our, jurisdiction, if you will, you know what I mean?
Sure,
but we love the place. It's actually an art gallery.
Oh, cool.
So it fits like perfectly as far as, what we're trying to do and what we're kind of trying to express. That, people can go there, not only listen to music, but also like experience some cool artwork, and get a real feel for what our band's all about.
I think it's the greatest, smartest thing bands can do. Bonus when they do CD release parties and different things, hold them in artistic settings. Yeah. Don't run out and just grab the nearest club and do it. Clubs have audio, sure, we understand that in the stage, but it's boring for the fan, and it doesn't do a lot of times it doesn't do anything to enhance the band. When you get into an art gallery, and we're really using an art gallery, and the art that's there is somewhat visually reflective of the music, people get it. They walk out and they walk around and they say, this is really cool because they're really stimulated.
Oh, they chose this venue for such and such.
But in
reason.
an artistic environment, it's a wise thing to do for bands. So I applaud you.
And we've even considered just doing like as opposed to like a bunch of bands playing, actually inviting a bunch of bands out. Just to have a good time. Have a few drinks, some pizza. Just stuff like that. And then so it kind of takes away. You don't have to be like pelted with loud music the entire time, even though that's what we love. What I mean?
Of course, and of course, add a funky bass to that. You want to make sure the art is well hung on the wall.
Yeah, exactly.
You'll be buying a lot of art that night.
But never give. We try never to give our fans a reason not to come. We constantly strive to make them.
Great way to do it. I agree. Hey, the tune "You Will Dance."
Yes.
I heard something in that I really liked, and it was this thing called a wah-wah in the guitar solo, which is great because I grew up in the wah-wah, era and all that stuff, and but it was played the way you played it, was in a very sort of an honorable, traditional way that it's played, and it's kind of like a Hendrix influence, or was it really? Do you think of a Hendrix influence with a wah-wah or any of the 60s craze?
Even though we're kind of like somewhat of considered to be like a modern band, with like synthesizers and relatively like modern, construction of our songs, there's something about vintage guitar tones that are just outplay everything I've heard as far as, like 90s and beyond. I mean, it's just this like true to the actual guitar. When you're playing it, that guitar is making that noise. It's not like processed at all. So yeah, absolutely. I take a ton of influence from like players like Phil Keaggy and Jimi Hendrix and Clapton. The greats. You know what I mean?
People realize with Phil Keaggy, those who are old enough might know, Phil Keaggy had 9 fingers.
Yeah.
And he wrapped. It was a Les Paul that he played. And he took what was left of his small finger and he wraps it around the master volume control on the guitar. And when he plays, he pulls the master volume control up and down.
The volume swells. Yeah. If you listen to and I encourage everyone, if you guys get the endless contradiction, you'll hear it throughout. Largely the volume swells. You'll hear it all the time. I love that sound.
Just great stuff. And then of course, Opus in D minor uses a lot of great reverb effects. Okay, I like that. But I'm curious on the reverb in that song. Was it by chance spring reverb? Do you know what spring reverb is?
Yeah.
It sounded more like spring reverb as opposed to plate reverb or digital reverb. Would it have been spring reverb?
It was.
Okay. Was it?
Yeah.
Wah-wahs and reverb, good stuff.
It was I don't know. We recorded a lot of our material on Pro Tools, and there was a few different kinds of like programs out there that offer different reverbs and like different like decay rates and stuff like that. And I the digital was just a little bit too crisp, a little bit too clean. You know what I mean? So it sounded digital. Plate reverbs get messy real quick.
They do.
And the spring reverb just seemed to really kind of like set well in the mix. I didn't find myself like fighting it a lot.
It's a fullness. It has a really interesting fullness.
Yeah, and some people say we're a little bit almost, I don't want to say like sloshed, but we're like kind of like delay and reverb soaked. But it's a pretty common characteristics, of people will run things to your reverb and then to a delay, so you get this really big sound. And I love that.
And what a great sound when you get spring reverb and all through a tube amp. I mean those warm tubes are so
great.
Tube
amp is key for
I will share with you, as a 30-year veteran on the bass guitar. I have even to this day, I have a huge stadium rig of all custom GK Gilding Kruger equipment. Okay, I hate it. I have my Ampeg V4B rig from 1972 that is in impeccable condition with 2 15s, and I put a few more tubes in it here or there. The tubes are only made in Russia, and man, is it great! Simplistic, and boy, is it great! And so what a difference in it. But those again, warm tubes are just just a great comeback with stuff.
Very much so key in a good recording.
So the you mentioned your feelings about sort of analog over digital. So you're doing the digital with the Pro Tools, but you're trying to get a lot more of the sort of the analog effects and the warmer effects of.
As far as like analog versus digital, I wish I could say that we had like the time or the money to record, like into analog preamps and then into like a digital system, kind of like have a hybrid system. But a lot of times, and I'm sure I'm not alone on this with local bands or even national bands, there's just not the money in it. You know what I mean? Like we just or the time to get everything set. So what we generally try to do is get the best possible sound out of our analog rigs. Like me, I run almost like 90% analog pedals, and everything like that. And then he runs completely clean. And even our drummer has a pretty vintage sound as far. He has like a Catalina set, which is like not really like fitting for our music, but it seems to work beautifully well. Yeah. So I mean, we try our best, and hope we aspire to getting into that to where we can actually have great preamps and a great overall analog. So, but I think we do a pretty good job as far as what we're kind of.
Sam, do you feel that you're much more of a recording act than a live act?
No, quite the opposite.
Really?
Yeah, I think if anything, we're kind of tame in the recording studio. We try to keep things together, and live it's just a 45-minute party.
Is it really? Is it really? My gosh, that's great. I'm curious, with all of these passions, do you ever feel like you were born too late in rock?
Yeah. I can.
At what period? If you could go back right now, at your age, in any period of rock, Sam, where would you like to be?
Oh, in any period of rock?
Doc's time machine.
Oh man, 70s.
Back to the 70s.
Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely, back to the 70s.
And why?
Back in the 70s, in order to get anywhere in the industry, you actually had to play and you had to work hard to get out there. You know what I mean? Like we were talking about before, when you have Clapton, Keggy, Hendrix, all those guys, to even be considered, you know what I mean? You have to have like such a diverse, thing about yourself. And now, in 2010, anything I know we record through Pro Tools, but I mean, like you run it through Pro Tools Auto Tune and it's on the radio in a week.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's no like vigorous. You don't have to work. It's almost like record label. Oh, we're gonna give you $2 million, make your career happen, and then turn you out. And sometimes that actually turns out really, really well. Like a ton of artists have like a really poppy career in the beginning, and then kind of go off and do something like more serious later on. And that's great. But I mean, like back in the 70s, man. I mean, like, and one band that came to mind. The reason I even said the 70s is the Jefferson Airplane. Those guys are just.
Well, they're actually more 60s.
Oh yeah.
They started in the late 60s, moving in the 70s.
Cool.
Jefferson Starship, Jefferson Airplane first, then Jefferson Starship. Yeah.
But yeah, just I don't know. Just in like going back to like even my personal tone of like what I like CDs to sound like, or even myself guitar tones to sound like. It's just
a fascinating thing. It's so amazing for somebody of your age and generation to mention that band, because a lot of bands, especially in the psychedelic era, the song White Rabbit White Rabbit, is such an iconic song. Although it's not a total instrumental, but it was more or less considered the theme song of Vietnam, of the Vietnam War days, But it's an incredible piece of music because so much reserved was used in that song, and just where people weren't over shredding or anything else. But it just captured a feeling that was the generation. Really was the song of the generation. So it's
some
amazing.
of our biggest influences from that time era were like King Crimson.
Oh yeah.
And also Rush.
There you go. Yeah. King Crimson is an instrumental band. is fantastic. Court of the Crimson King.
Almost definitely.
And it's funny because they're one of the original keyboard players lives in Cleveland.
Nice.
And he plays piano gigs in bars and things of that sort. And they say, "Oh, he's a very nice older Englishman." He was the first player in King Crimson, Oh my God! So, but you never know. That's why I said it before. You never know who you're going to find in the influence with stuff like that. You do all your own management and booking and all that. So, Sam, you're like the business driver.
Yeah.
So Cody.
Sam handles a lot of the the booking and stuff.
Okay.
And he pretty much manages the entire band.
So, what does Cody and Cameron do?
They're.
Go ahead. You got to give him the microphone now. You got to give it up.
They are more than willing to help whenever I ask them to do something. Or,
Okay.
Whenever I try to express them to go on the sites. Just to, like rile up some people or like make sure that this and this people are invited to just stuff like that. Look out in the area and see what other venues are open up there. Just as soon as I ask them, they are right on it. You know what I mean? And I couldn't ask for two better members.
Really great. I'm glad to hear you say that because it's it's often hard sometimes. The bands, everybody's got to have equal vote and somebody's got to business direction, but the band's all got to move in the same direction without any animosity. So I salute the Colonel. Right, absolutely. Good for you. Now he's easing up. Okay, so that's good. I'm just curious with gigs and your genre. Do you find when you're talking to clubs and all, I think you've played the Outpost and some great places like that, but even beyond it, when clubs say, well, let me check out your website. Oh, it's psychedelic funk. Are they very open-minded about giving you opportunities for gigs, or does your genre, is that more of a handicap?
More so than just venues. Sometimes it's really hard to find bands that match, that kind of like go well with stylistically. So I think any reservation that comes from venues comes in large part from finding someone else that can like kind of match with your styles. Like we played with a band, Hayden Calling, and they're much more vocal oriented than us. They have long like instrumental vamps, but they're large. They have a very big stick in the vocals, and but we both seem to complement each other extremely well.
So how do the clubs feel, the talent buyers and clubs?
They
have psychedelic nights?
It's kind of like 50-50, I think as long as you present yourself as professionals and that you kind of display to them what your expectations are is from you and from them, that they're pretty more than willing, to book, just about anyone as long as you kind of bring a case before them that's like, hey, you know what? We do our jobs well. We get people out. People like our music. And honestly, sometimes I think people get a little bombarded. So to hear like an instrumental group, it's almost kind of like a break. Maybe not with us, but I think more than anything, I think they're intrigued. I think they're a little bit intrigued to see like, well, how the hell are they going to make that work? You know what I mean? So and sometimes it goes well, and sometimes it kind of. Pans out, 50-50.
Yeah,
so.
I can imagine. My gosh. Now, any upcoming gigs? So we need to know about it. We know about the CD again. But what about gigs coming up?
Oh, you know what? We actually have a gig this weekend at the Outpost. Like you had mentioned before.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
at the Outpost. That's September 10th. It's a Saturday, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
And that's with our good friends. If you guys have never heard of this band called PJ and the Whistlers, if you guys have never heard of those guys, they're an awesome, younger than us. Yeah, they're an awesome funk group out of Canton.
Really?
And they're phenomenal. And then also our good friends from Colored People, and he's a solo act, actually. His name is Joe Mass.
Okay.
So it's going to be a really, really interesting
Great
night.
show at the Outpost. And you got to celebrate the Outpost. It's a great place.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Book a show there.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And they've been around for so long and so dedicated. That's great. Well, I wish you a lot of luck. Congratulations to you upon the CD in advance. I hope there'll be a great CD release party. Okay, there better be. So it's good, and I really appreciate all that you've shared and a lot of the philosophies that you have. I think they're absolutely great. So that's why you are the Colonel. Okay, some great stuff. stuff there. So congratulations to you. And thanks for being on Band-Aid
Absolutely.
Recovery Room. It is good stuff. And I'd like to say, of course, thanks to you for for being here too, and the Band-Aid production team. You know, I couldn't do it without any of them. These crazy wizards who are flying around this place. Oh my God, Social Racket out there doing his thing. My buddy Jared Holly out there on the scene, and of course the Flying V. He's the big guy back there who puts it all together to make this show happen. And of course, I'd like to say especially to you, because you're really a part of the team, and I appreciate you for watching this podcast. And of course, in the Recovery Room on September 13th, we'll be illuminated by the mega artist Zach, who's recently dropped a hugely successful album called Luminosity. That's right, Luminosity. Zach is the epitome of being both a community activist and humanitarian who gives back so very, very much from his talent. The man is really incredible, and his career has done very, very well. So you will want to be enlightened and inspired by this great artist and soul. And of course, on September 13th, we will also be injecting the indie folk rock band called Circus from Orlando, Florida. That's kind of a natural. You know, Circus from Orlando, Florida, along with those power pop sensations from Atlanta, Georgia, called Butch Walker and the Black Widows. So I'll surely be smashing the BAMs for them on that show as well. You know, how bad do you want success from your musical talent? How hard are you willing to slave for it, and for what reason? Follow your heart and be honest with yourself. Your heart is your grounding point and will steer you if you take the time to keep it pure and to listen within. After all, it is your personal pump. When the odds seem far-reaching and not possible, listen within, and therein intuitively you will know, and it will rock your world. I'll see you at the top. Namaste.
All this energy calling me back where it comes from. It's such a crude attitude. It's back where it belongs. All the little kids growing up on the skids are going Cleveland rocks, Cleveland rocks. Jumping Gene and moving James Dean going Cleveland rocks, Cleveland rocks, Cleveland rocks.
Get down, damn it! And keep on rocking for the free world.